Hello pre-calc students doing solution key to the circles homework. So in problems 1 through 6, the graph of the circle is given. Match each graph to its equation. So let's look at problem number 1. Problem 1 has a circle with a center at 2, -3. So that means the equation, regardless of the radius, I know it's going to be x minus 2 squared plus y plus 3. So x minus 2, y plus 3. The only possible equation that fits that characteristic for the center is going to be e. So 1 is associated with e, and e is associated with 1. Also, you can see the radius is 3, and 3 squared is 9. For problem 2, we have a center at 2, -1. Right there, now I know the left-hand side of my equation will have a center of x minus 2, y plus 1. So x minus 2, y plus 1, that will be c. So 2 is associated with c, and c is associated with 2. For problem circle number 3, we have a center at -2, +1, which would give us a left-hand side equation of x plus 2 squared plus y minus 1 squared. So that's going to be a. So a is associated with 3, and 3 is associated with a. With 4, we have a center at 0, 0. So that's just going to be x squared plus y squared equals, the radius is 4, so that equals 16. So that means 4 is associated with f, and f is associated with 4. With 5, we have a center at 0, 2, which means it's going to be x minus 0 squared, simplifying to x squared, plus y minus 2 squared is equal to a radius of 1, 2, 3 is equal to 9. So 5 is associated with b, and b is associated with 5. With 6, we have a center of 2, 0, meaning that x minus 2 squared plus y squared is equal to a radius of 1, 2, 3 is equal to 9. So that means 6 is associated with d, and d is associated with 6. So that's 1 through 6. Problem 7 through 10, find the equation of the circle. You have a center of -4, 5 and a radius of 12. So that's going to be plugging in. Remember, you have, I'll do it very thoroughly for the first one, but then not as thoroughly for the next ones. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. So plugging in, -4 is h, 5 is k. Our radius, the square root of 12, is equal to r. So we will have, next step of the equation, x minus -4 squared plus y minus 5 squared is equal to the square root of 12 squared. X minus -4 squared will simplify to x plus 4 squared. Y minus 5 squared can stay the same at y minus 5 squared. And the square root of 12 squared, the square root of anything squared, is what is under the square root. So the square root of 12 squared is 12. This gives us an equation of x plus 4 squared plus y minus 5 squared is equal to 12. Now, for problem 8, we have a center at 4, -3 and an area of 36 pi. So here, 36 pi is equal to pi r squared. Divide each side by pi, and r squared is equal to 36. So if r squared, that's actually going to be, this is what is on our right-hand side of the equation. R squared is on the right-hand side of the equation. So we can write x minus 4 squared plus y plus 3 squared, switching the sign to the center, is equal to 36. And that is the equation of our circle. For number 9, we have a center at 4, 2, and it's going to be tangent to the x-axis. So we have 4, 2. Let's draw this on the xy axis. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So this is our center at 4, 2. And what it means by our center circle is tangent to the x-axis, it means that our circle touches the x-axis only at one point. So remember, this is the x-axis. If we're tangent to the x-axis, we touch at only one point, which means the farthest edge of the circle will touch the x-axis. So we will have one point of the circle be at 4, 2. If it's tangent to the x-axis, we'll also have a point at 4, 0. To indulge you, this will give us a radius of 2. So our radius here equals 2. Our radius is equal to 2. This also means that we have a point at 4, 4, 0, but we also have a point at 4, 4, 6, 2, and 2, 2. And that's going to create a circle. So we have, but the main point is our center is 4, 2, and our radius is equal to 2. So we'll have x minus 4 squared plus y minus 2 squared is equal to 2 squared is 4, is equal to 4. Endpoints of the diameter are 3, negative 4, and negative 3, 6. So with a problem like this, we need to find the center and the radius. That's always what we need to find the equation of the circle. So here, the center is going to be the midpoint of the diameter. Center, that's going to be the midpoint of the diameter. Midpoint of the endpoints of the diameter. Points of the center is the midpoint of the endpoints of the diameter. And the radius is going to be 1/2 the length of the diameter. So let's get into the problem. To find the midpoint of the diameter, you have 3 plus negative 3. So to find the endpoints of the diameter, HK would be equal to 3 plus negative 3 over 2, comma, negative 4 plus 6 over 2. All right. So simplifying this becomes 0 over 2 comma 2 over 2, which is going to simplify into hk becoming 0, 1. All right, now we need the distance between these 2 points. So hk is 0, 1. That's one component. The other component is the distance. So the distance between these 2 points are x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Take the square root of the whole thing. So the distance is going to be square root of x2 minus x1. So let's do of 3 minus negative 3 squared plus negative 4 minus 6 squared. That's going to be equal to the square root of 3 minus negative 3 of 6 squared. Negative 4 minus 6 is negative 10 plus 10 squared. That's going to be equal to the square root of 136. That's equal to r. So that is equal to the diameter. Now if that's equal to the diameter, the radius r is equal to the square root of 136 over 2. All right. If r is equal to the square root of 136 over 2, that means that r squared is equal to this term squared, which is 136, square root 136 squared is going to be 136 over 4. And the square root of 136 over 4, let's see, it would be 60 is 120, 128. So 68 times 2 is 136. And then half of 68 would be 34. So that means r squared, that's equal to 34. So that's equal to r squared. So now we have r squared. We have our r squared term. We have our center. So finally, we can write our standard equation. X squared plus y minus 1 squared is equal to 34. That's the whole process for number 10. Number 10 is more involved. Use the margins if you need more space. Clear those annotations. 11 through 16. Find the center and the radius of each circle. Then graph the circle. X plus 2 plus y minus 3. So you're going to have a center at negative 2. So x, negative 2, positive 3. All right. And that's equal to 16. All right, so that's equal to 4. So we do 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Remember, if 16 is equal to r squared, then 4 is equal to r. And their center is at negative 2, positive 3. So we have 4 in this direction 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that gives me our circle. So do my best to draw a circle that goes through these points. So that's a circle. Great. For 12, x minus 1 squared plus y plus 2 squared is equal to 12. So we have a center at positive 1, negative 2, and our radius is equal to the square root of 12. And to simplify, square root of 12, that's equal to square root of 4 times 3. The square root of 4 is 2, so that's equal to 2 root 3. Because 4 is the perfect square there. So let's see, we have our center at 1 and negative 2. Negative 2. 2 times the square root of 3. Square root of 3 is approximately equal to 1.7. So 2 times 1.7 is approximately equal to 3.4. There's 3.14. So draw my points. Approximate 3 away. 1, 2, 3, and a bit. 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 And now I draw my circle. The center is going to be at 0, positive 3. The radius is going to be equal to 5. I'm not going to explain that one. Figure it out. So, center's at x is 0, y is positive 3. And we have endpoints 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is our circle. 14. Center at 0, 0. Our radius is equal to the square root of 18, which is equal to the square root of 9 times 2, which is equal to 3 times the square root of 2. The square root of 2 is approximately equal to 1.4. Alright, square root of 2 is equal to 1.4, so 3 times 1.4 is going to be equal to 0.4 times 3, that's going to be 1.2 plus 3, which is equal to 4.2. So approximately 4. We're going to have a center at 0, 0, and 4.2, that's 4 and a bit. 4 and a bit. Negative 4 and a bit. Negative 4 and a bit. And that's going to give us our circle that goes through all those points. Obviously, it's hard to draw a perfect circle. Clear annotations. Alright, now we're going to have to complete the square. X squared minus 8x plus our complete square term plus y squared plus 4y plus r, complete the square term. It's going to equal negative 11 plus r, complete the square term for x's, plus r, complete the square term for the y's. When we complete the square for the blue, for the x terms, we have negative 8 divided by 2 equal to negative 4. That's 1. And then negative 4 squared. That's equal to negative 4 squared. That's 16. That's step 2. For our y squared plus 4y is equal to complete the square term. We have 4. Well, so we have 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. That's step 1. And then 2 squared is equal to 4. That's step 2. So we add step 2. These terms will add 16 into our blue boxes. We will add 4 into our red boxes. Now, negative 11 plus 16 plus 4, that's negative 11 plus 20. That's going to equal positive 9. So we're going to have what's equals to 9 is going to be x minus 4 squared. See that minus 4? X minus 4 squared plus y plus 2 squared is equal to 9. So you have a center at 4, negative 2, and a radius of 3. So you have center x minus 4. So that's going to be center at positive 4, negative 2, and a radius of 3. So you can go 1, 2, 3, up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, down, and 1, 2, 3, left. Make the circle. All right, 16. X squared plus 8x plus r, complete the square term, plus y squared minus 6y plus r, complete the square term, is equal to positive 15. X squared, 8 divided by 2 is 4, 4 squared is 16. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9. This is going to factor out into x plus 4 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to 15 plus 16 is 31 plus 9 is 40. So that means our center is going to be -4, +3, and the radius is equal to the square root of 40, which is the square root of 4 times 10, which means it's equal to 2 times the square root of 10. Look at this. That's 3 something. 3.333. So 6.66. So let's try that. What's the square root of 10? Square root of 10 is 3.16, so times 2. It's approximately equal to 6.32. That's approximately equal to 6.32. All right. So center is at -4, +3. And a radius, we're going to go 6.32 in either direction. So it's going to be a little bit off the charts here. 1, 2, and a bit. A little bit off the charts here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a bit. This is our circle. We have a larger circle here. For 17, 18, 19. All right. Find the x and y intercepts of the graph of the circle given by the equation. Now the x-intercepts, the x-intercept is your value when y equals 0. So x-intercept is going to be your x values when y equals 0. And your y-intercept is your y values when x equals 0. So let's plug it in. Let's find the x-intercept. Under x-intercept, this is the values when y equals 0. So you'll have x minus 2 squared plus 0 minus 4 squared is equal to 16. All right. X minus 2 squared plus -4 squared is 16 equal to 16. So x minus 2 squared is equal to, minus subtract 16 from each side is equal to 0. Take the square root of each side. Square root of 0 is 0, so 0 is equal to x minus 2. Add 2 to each side. And x is equal to 2. We'll have an x-intercept of 2, 0. Now let's find the y-intercepts where possible. The y-intercept is the y values when x is equal to 0. So you'll have 0 minus 2 squared plus y minus 4 squared is equal to 16. Negative 2 squared is 4, so we'll have 4 plus y minus 4 squared is equal to 16. Subtract 4 from each side, you'll have y minus 4 squared equals 12. Take the square root of each side. Y minus 4 is equal to, take the square root of each side, plus or minus the square root of 12. So on to the next step right here. Y is equal to, add 4 to each side, 4 plus or minus the square root of 12. Y is equal to 4 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 3. That's because the square root of 12 becomes the square root of 4 times 3. 4 can come out as 2. That becomes 2 to the square root of 3. Alright? So our y-intercepts are our y values when x equals 0. So we have 0, 2 root 3, and 0, negative 2 root 3. So these are our y-intercepts. That our x-intercept is 2, 0, and our y-intercepts are 0, 2 root 3, and 0, negative 2 root 3. Solve for x and y, and sketch. Find the area of the circle that lies above the x-axis. Okay, this one's fun. X minus 4 squared plus y squared is equal to 9. So we have negative. We have a center at 4, 0. Their center. Our radius is 3, so we have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. Notice our area above the x-axis is half the circle. So solving for y, I mean, if we y is going to be all the y values of the circle. So, I mean, if you really wanted to, y is equal to 9 minus x minus 4 squared. That's what y squared is equal to. So y is equal to 3 minus x minus 4. But that's the real thing is the area of the circle above the x-axis. This is half the circle. So for this part, it's going to be 1/2 times pi r squared, which is going to be 1/2 times pi 3 squared. So that's going to be 1/2 of 9 pi. That's going to be the area above the x-axis. 1/2 9 pi. Clear annotations. Sketch the circle. Write the equation of the line that is tangent to the circle at the point 1, -6. Sketch the tangent line. So we have a center at -3 or -2. We have also a radius that is square root. So our radius, our circle has our radius is equal to the square root of 32, which is equal to 2 times 16, 4 times 8, yeah, the square root of 16 times 2, which is equal to 4 times the square root of 2, which is approximately equal to 4 times 1.2, and 4 times 1.2 is approximately equal to 4 times 1.4. That's going to be 5.6. So that's approximately equal to 5.6. That's a radius. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a little bit more than half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a little bit more than 1/2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a little bit more than 1/2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a little bit more than 1/2. Alright. We need to find the equation to the point that is tangent to the line at 1, -6. Alright. So if I drew the circle better, the circle would at the point 1, -6. The circle would have a point on that line, so I can erase my bad drawing. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to find the slope of this line. First, I'm going to call this will be a line segment, and the line tangent to this point is going to be this line right here. It'll create a 90-degree angle with this radius. This is the point at 1, -6. So I need to find this slope. And to find this slope, I can find the rise over run. So the rise is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So the rise, m1, we'll call this, have a slope of m1. Is going to be equal to +4 over 1, 2, 3, 4 over -4, which is going to be equal to -1. And another way I can calculate this is that I can do, if my center is at -3, -2, I can get that 4 by doing m1 is also equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I can do 2 point negative 6, so y2 minus y1, negative 6 minus negative 2 over x2 1 minus negative 3. That's going to be negative 4 over positive 4. Same difference. That's also equal to negative 1. So that's, once again, verifying my calculation. If that's going to be the slope of my original line, the slope of the tangent line, which is perpendicular, m2 is going to be, it's perpendicular to that line, so that's going to be negative reciprocal. So it's going to be negative 1 over the slope over our original line, which was going to be negative 1 over 1. Remember, that's equal to m1. So that means m2 is negative 1 over negative 1 is positive 1. So m2 has a slope of positive 1. So this has a slope of 1. Our slope m2 is equal to 1. So now we have a point, we have m2, which is the slope. Our point is 1, negative 6, so we can use point slope form. Y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Y minus y1, negative 6, is equal to 1 times x minus 1. So we have y plus 6 is equal to x minus 1. Finish things off. Y is equal to x minus 1 plus 6. Alright, that's 19. Clearing annotations. Going to 20 and 21. Earthquake was felt up to 86 miles from its epicenter. Your house is located 62 miles east and 48 miles south of the epicenter. Let the epicenter be represented by the origin, that's at 0, 0. Write an equation in standard form that would describe the outer boundary of the quake. Well, the center is at 0, 0, so we'll have x squared plus y squared. And the earthquake was felt up to 86 miles from the epicenter, so that's going to be equal to, 86 is equal to r. That's going to equals to 86 squared. What is 86 squared? I don't have that off the top of my head. I can use my calculator to find out that 86 squared is 7,396. That's equal to x squared plus y squared equals 7,396. Alright. So that is the outer boundary of the quake. Would we have felt the earthquake? So the question is the point 62 negative 48 within that boundary? So we need to figure out if this is 86 miles away from the epicenter. So what we can do is we can figure out the square root of find the distance. So it'd be 62 miles east. So 62 minus 0 squared plus 48 minus 0 squared. Figure out whether this is less than or equal to 86. Plug this in with your calculator. It is. So that means the answer here is yes. How far away from the outer boundary do you live? Well, now we need to find our distance from the so this will give us our distance from the epicenter. Our distance from epicenter, not the part in downtown Charlotte, by the way. That's a different epicenter. It's going to be the square root of 662 squared plus 48 squared. That's equal to 78. 78.41. That's equal to approximately 78.41. That's less than 86. So how far away from the outer boundary? We're going to have 86 minus 78.41. That's going to be 0.59. That gives us 79. That's going to be equal to not 79, because 0.59 gives us 79. So 7.59 miles from the outer boundary. Outer boundary. Okay? Going to the last question now. This one I'm going to try to set up for you and see how well you guys do on your own. Okay? We have a sprinkling system which covers an area of 2,100 square feet. Find the radius of the region that is covered by the sprinkler system. Alright. So, here, pi r squared is equal to 2,100. So think about it. R would be equal to the square root of 2,100 divided by pi. Find that, if you figure it out. The farmer wants to cover an area of 3,000 square feet. How much longer does the radius need to be? So in this case, you need to say that, remember, pi r squared has to equal 3,000. So r squared has to equal 3,000 over pi, which means that r has to be equal to the square root of 3,000 over pi. And you need to figure out how much bigger is this value. How much larger is this value from the previous radius? Alright, that's the video.